Welcome to the Our Team Podcast, powered by eXp Realty. Are you an agent looking to level up? Are you someone looking to buy or sell real estate? Fantastic. This is the show for you.
Hey guys, welcome to the Our Team Podcast. I am Brian Auer, and we have another very special podcast for you today because we have Stephanie with us again. Steph Winter has, I think there's something wrong with, I don't know why this happens, but whenever we do a podcast with you, we get more views, we get more comments, we get more.
Did you start off by saying that was a problem?
No, it's not a problem. But, you know, my ego.
Okay.
It's like,
that's the problem.
Wait a second. How come? I do have I did a couple of shorts that we pulled from here that have thousands of views, and I have no idea why. But, you know, consistently you draw, you know, a crowd. And I think it's because you have a lot of really good things to say.
Oh, thank you.
And you come from a place of, you know, we talk about this a lot. Enthusiasm sells.
Mm-hmm.
And we have never done a podcast with you where you're not extremely enthusiastic. Mm-hmm. So I think that a lot of it has to do with that. I can get a little bit boring, you know, because I'm kind of, and you're a little more spastic.
A little more, yeah. I was going to say live wire. So spastic kind of, yeah.
Does spastic hurt your feelings? Is that a bad word to use? That trigger?
No,
trigger?
No,
okay.
Not at all. Because it's actually not, what would be the word?
It's not politically correct.
It's not incorrect.
Right.
Not even politically. It's just not incorrect. What is spastic? A lot of energy going in a lot of different directions. So, even on a good day.
Absolutely.
I like multi-passionate.
You're multi-passionate. You are.
Mm-hmm.
You do. You get really into the things that you're into, and you're just like, and that's why I wanted to talk to you today about what we're going to be talking about. Because if you dive into just being in sales and working with clients, working with people, it's really important to understand their different personality types because you can kind of meet them where they're at. You can be better at your job if you know the different personality types so that you can sort of not be fake, but you can kind of meet them where they're at and relate to where they're at in their personality, right?
Yeah, you want to be a chameleon. You want to relate to people at their communication level because as a salesperson, you have something really awesome that you're bringing to the market.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as a salesperson, it's your responsibility to convey that awesomeness to the market. And if you can get into somebody's personality type and understand how they like to be communicated to, then that's going to allow you to build that bridge of your really awesome product, their communication style, and building that bridge so that they can hear you in a way that's receptive.
Right. Love that.
Mm-hmm.
So exactly what are we talking about then today? Let's bring it down to what we're talking about today.
Thank you, Ryan. I am so excited to be invited on this podcast today to talk about the DISC profile.
Ooh, okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. We've touched on it before in regarding social media posts and stuff like that, but this is
yeah.
DISC
profile is super awesome. It's a personality assessment that I've been familiar with since 2007. And while doing some research for this podcast, I learned a lot more about it, which absolutely blew my mind. I'm so excited to share with you.
I'm more excited that you did research for the podcast.
I am too.
That's really cool.
Yeah, I actually had some notes that I forgot to bring, so I kind of had to use the internet to find the verbiage that I was looking for. And upon doing so, I found out the history of the DISC profile, which is really cool because, I mean, I've been using the DISC profile since 2007, a good amount of years. I've taken it a couple of times. I've had a slight variation, but ultimately it stays the same. There's two different, it's a series of over 100 questions that you will answer online. There's a couple of different onlines. If you search for DISC assessment, there's a couple of different free tests. I think Tony Robbins' website has a great resource for it.
It's a really good one.
But it is so awesome in just understanding people's personality types and the best way to communicate with them. Or, you know, if you have an organization and a business and you are hiring people to fit and fill certain roles.
Oh, yeah.
Certain roles, do better with certain personality types. Yeah. Admins do better with people who like to dot the T's and cross the I's.
Yeah.
Clearly, I'm not that person. So
nope.
I need that person in my life. And if you look at my DISC personality, there's 4 letters to the DISC personality, which is going to structure out your personality quadrants, right? Mm-hmm. The D, the I, the S, the C. And if you were to build a circle, quadrant it out, and give each quadrant a letter clockwise, start in the top left corner, do a D, top right corner I, bottom right S, bottom left C.
Okay.
Now you've got your quadrant of your disc profile.
Makes sense.
And so your personality types, what are they? What does this mean? What is D-I-S-C?
What's a D? Start there. What's a D?
Yeah. And if you were looking at any personality types, I mean, they all kind of break it down by the 4 main structures, and then you can break it down into the 16 main if you want to go into Myers-Briggs, and then you can break it down into the 32 main.
Oh, geez.
Or you go really wild into human design, and now you've got all these other perspectives. So DISC is a really good place to start.
Okay.
And it was actually invented in 1928 by William Moulton Marston, who was a psychologist who, interestingly enough, also invented the first lie detector and was the comic book DC developer of Wonder Woman.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah.
I wonder if he developed his characters in DC's Wonder Woman based on the DISC test or the DISC, profile.
Okay, so that was really interesting. So, that is really interesting looking into that. Turns out he had
That's super cool.
a wife
Wow.
and a girlfriend and 2 children with each of them for a total of 4 children.
I don't recommend that if you're listening to this podcast and you have a wife and a girlfriend. I just don't recommend that.
Yeah, so it's really interesting because I'm like, oh my gosh, this DISC profile is so prevalent in so many businesses. And, when you learn something like that, you kind of want to learn the history of where it's coming from. And he seems pretty brilliant, pretty solid, just, a different lifestyle.
Well, even if he's not, right, his DISC test is proven. It's been around for, like you said, nearly 100 years.
Yeah.
And some of the most respectable Fortune 500 companies use it.
Yes.
You said earlier, Tony Robbins absolutely believes in it.
Yes.
It's one of my favorite coaches, Tom Ferry. Also within that organization, Andy Nazaroff. We always talk about the DISC test. It's so important, right? So can we break into what each one is? Like, what is a D?
Yeah. First, I just want to say, I think what I found was the one connecting factor between the DISC profile, the lie detector, and Wonder Woman is that this man was a real seeker of truth. He was a truth seeker, and he was a psychologist, and he wanted people to find their best selves. So through the lie detector, he actually originally wanted to use it towards people to help them come up with their subconscious beliefs that they might not even realize that they have, because the lie detector could test your blood pressure increasing.
Oh my gosh.
Right?
Okay.
So it was helping through a psychological perspective. It would help people uncover some subconscious beliefs that maybe they didn't realize were triggering, holding them back, however.
Okay.
Also interesting that Wonder Woman's lasso was known as a truth lasso. And if you were inside of it, then you had to tell
You
the
had
truth.
to tell the truth.
Yeah. Not a comic book person, did not know that. Definitely want to learn more. But I thought that was pretty interesting. What is the common denominator of the man who invented the DISC profile? So how can you use the DISC profile in everyday life to benefit you?
Yeah.
Okay, so everyone has a communication style. So it's good to know the percentages of the population that fall into which category. Well, first, which one is which? You have your D, your I, your S, your C. Your Ds are your drivers. They're your dominants. They're your horses with blinders that have the eye on the prize. And, they might be a little bit abrasive sometimes, a little bit run you over, kind of not sensitive to people's feelings. They might be the type who sends a 3-word email, like, where is it? Without any pleasantries. And it's not personal. They're just very direct, very to the point. They want it done, and they want it done faster.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you have your eyes, your expressives. We like pretty colors. We're going to talk to you really loud about how it feels and center, life of the party, center of attention, big expressive movements, usually bright colors and patterns, high eyes, very feeling oriented. And then your S's are more stable. They're more serene. If anything, they're even more stubborn.
Yeah.
They're less likely to change. They're slower to trust. They're slower to make decisions. Their main driving factor is stability, consistency, and knowing what to expect.
Yeah.
And then that's actually going to be 50% of the population.
Right.
And that's good to know.
I think everybody's going to have a little bit of that. The S is going to,
everybody has a little bit of everything. It's just which one are you more dominant to?
That's true. You're always going to have, when you do this test, you're going to have all 4 in variables.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're all the same cake. We're just different variations of ingredients.
Yeah, exactly.
Right? And then the C are your analyticals, your data analysts. You're very dot the I's and cross the T's type of people.
Right.
So as you go down, the S's are going to be your most dominant. So as you're a salesperson, you're out just 1 out of 2, it's a 50% chance that the person you're dealing with is a high S. They're going to be more slow to trust. They're going to want more consistency. They're going to be more slow to make a decision, and they really just want to feel safe.
Right.
They want safety and stability.
Right.
Okay. And then your I's are about 25% of the population. So each letter kind of goes down by half, right?
Okay.
So if they're not an S, right, now you've got a 75% chance or a 25% chance that they're an I, a D, or a C.
Yeah.
So which one's going to be? Well, it's a 50-50 chance now that they're going to be an I.
Right.
Okay. If they're not an S, it's likely that they're an I. And if they're not an I, they're a D. And if they're not a D, they're a C.
But it is pretty easy to figure out.
Oh, yeah.
And that's one of the things I want to really unpack here, because you can't meet somebody, say at the grocery store or someone, and you're going to start, maybe you feel like it's appropriate to engage in the topic of real estate, right? And because always be selling, right? And all of a sudden you're not going to say, hey, excuse me, before I ask these, can you just quickly take this DISC test for me? You know what I'm saying? You have to be able to figure it out.
Yeah.
You have to be able to know the DISC profiles so well and the outcomes of those tests so well that you can identify with body language, with maybe their communication style, the fact what they're doing in those initial stages of communication. So you go, oh, this person's definitely an I.
Yeah.
Or, ooh, I could tell this is a driver.
So if you're working with a client and they're like, just send me the information, just send it to me. I just want to see what you have. Like, that's a D, right?
Yep.
If someone's like, well, I'd like to sit down, get a coffee, really talk about it, kind of explore the possibilities, that might be more of our I, because they're looking for a feeling. They want to express themselves. They want to feel a connection.
Yes.
They're very people focused. Your I's and your S's are people focused, where your D's and your C's are task focused.
Yeah.
So your D's
Wow,
and your
cool.
C's aren't always the warmest and friendliest, and that's okay.
Yeah.
Because they're just task focused.
They know how to get there.
Yeah.
They just don't gravitate to that naturally.
They just don't want to do it
in a warm... It's not their first thing.
Yeah, they don't need to do it in a warm, fuzzy blanket.
Right.
They just want to get it done, and when
Yeah.
they get it done, then they're going to feel good about having it done.
Right. But even those drivers where they're dominantly a D, they're still going to have some I. It might only be 10%, but they still have it in them. So there's going to be times where you're dealing with the driver where all of a sudden you've closed escrow and they're actually tearing up and telling a bunch of stories and using hand. It's not going to be their go-to, but everyone, like you said, it's like a cake, right? We're all the cake. Everyone is the cake. But we just have different size shapes. Those 4 quadrants are just different pieces. We all make up the same thing. But, I guess what I'm trying to say is just because you know someone's a D doesn't mean you can't engage at times with them when they're open to being a spastic I. Because they've got it in them. They don't dominate in that area.
Yes.
So that's all.
So like I'm a high I. I'm very expressive. I like to feel things. I want to sit down and have coffee. I'm very people oriented.
You do a lot of hand
outgoing.
motions. If you sit too close to you will get smacked.
Yeah, you'll get or hugged. I don't
Or
know.
hugged, yeah.
Right? One or the other. And I had a client text me the other day and he was just like, "Are we on today at 10?" Right? Just like super basic.
Yes.
Like, boom, are we on? And I was like, "Yeah, we're good for it." And he was just like, "Oh, sorry, by the way, good morning."
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool." He's
When
like,
you hit him back with that D,
Yeah.
he was probably like, "Oh, that sounded rude."
Yeah. Like
you
I
probably reminded him.
I
of it.
responded back to him the way he responded to me, but he had enough emotional intelligence, I guess, to be like, "Oh, wow, like this person communicates a lot differently, and maybe I should communicate softer with them."
Yeah, his eye kicked in for a quick second.
Yeah, which was cool. And then I responded back, and I was like, "I'm totally cool with the short form text messages, by the way, haha." Like
I think that's what it should be. Before talk to text, texting was very sometimes just single letters for like thank you, TY, done.
Yeah.
Right? And now it's like because we talk to text, sometimes our texts are more detailed and crazy, albeit missing a lot of punctuation, but they're as expressive as a regular email or phone call sometimes. So
I have such
weird.
a hard time with text sometimes because I want to be so expressive or I want to say something in a certain way, and the way it sounds is not the same way that it looks in a text message. It doesn't
true.
sound the same in a text message as when I say it. So I'll like redo a bunch, and then I end up sending like the most disjointed response.
I found that if I send a text and I'm not sure how they're going to take it, I don't care how lame you think this is, I drop a smiley face at the end of it. If I'm not really sure what they're going to take, put a smiley face.
It is so hard for me, and yet I have done it so much. Like there are times where I just want to be like, there was a season where I just wanted to be very serious and take it seriously, and I did not, I had a downswing, and I would not end with smiley faces because it was like the whole.
Or a thumbs up or something, right?
Yeah, but I mean, you catch more flies with honey.
Yes, you do.
And the more exclamation points and the more smiley faces I put in text messages, like as cheesy or as like basic.
It's a way of coming across with enthusiasm. Enthusiasm sells.
And it's a warm blanket. Yeah, and it's enthusiasm. And it's like, blanket. Hey, I'm here. And like, da-da-da. Like, you don't know where they're at when they receive that text message. Yep. You don't know what space they're in, what's going on. So adding a little smiley face just kind of keeps it upbeat.
I do it so often that I've sent big text messages out to the team without a smiley face. And I've actually had people reach out to me and ask me if I was pissed off.
Really?
Are you upset? Yeah. Remember Jennifer Zapata? Twice. If she's listening right now, she'll be like, I did that. Twice. She said, you just sent a group text without a smiley face. Is everything okay? I thought she was joking. She was genuinely concerned.
She's a high S, isn't she?
Yes. Absolutely.
She is so a high S.
Definitely.
Oh, she is so an S. Love you, Jen.
Yeah. We're not dissing her.
Definitely an S. No.
Yeah, exactly. That's
I'll
cool.
even say go Dodgers for half a second on you for that.
So let me ask you this question. Since we now have a really good understanding of what D.I.S.C stands for and what it really means, I first want to say that I really means expressive. It should be the D.I.S.C, right? Why is it D.I.S.C? Why is I expressive? But anyway.
That's a great question because actually as I was researching it, our vocabulary has changed over the years, the words that we use since 1928. So originally, the way he had described it was that the D was a dominant, the I was an inducement, S was submission, and C was compliance.
So, so inducement.
Like inducing, like a seduction, inducing, like you're expressive, and so people are attracted.
You're inducing all of these different hand signals and different storytelling and things like that.
Or the induction of something.
That's
to break
weird
that one down.
If you're listening to this and you know the real reason why it's called
inducement,
let us know. Yeah. But it's now that we know what the different quadrants stand for and that we all have a little piece of all of that. Let's do this. I want this to be an actionable, something that people listening to this can go, okay, so now that I know that, how do I deal with it? So you've known me for a long time now.
Yeah.
What am I?
Oh, you're an IC.
You don't think I'm an ED? There's no D in there?
An ED? No. Lorianne, no, I'm just kidding.
There's no D in there at all, huh?
There's some D, but if I were to put yours and Lorianne's next to each other, you're softer.
Yeah.
You're softer as a personality.
I'm I all the way.
Yeah. Yeah. You were an artist. You were in a band. You were a drummer.
Yes.
You are. You still are.
You're never
not.
You never retire from drumming.
It's just not the dominant part of your personality today.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
Well, you know what? It's weird. I played for many, many years in a band and love music. I like writing and arranging music, and I'm into that. I mean, whenever I hear songs, I go, I love that. That chorus is a little too short for that. And that turnaround was just a waste of time. I mean, I'm still like analyzing music when I hear it, especially pop music.
And there's the C, analyzing.
Right?
Yeah. And
so, but I get that there's a certain creative itch that has to be scratched when you are a musician and you're an I personality. And when I started doing less live music and less music creative, I went almost immediately into video editing. And that was taking care of that expressive part. I was doing Along the Road to Temecula Valley, which we still do, and we're doing restaurant reviews and all this kind of stuff. And I was like, I can do this. I'm going to learn how to do this and become an editor too. So I boned up on those skills. And so even today, the fact that we're doing podcasts and other content is more of that side of me. And I want the team to have that piece. So that's why we provide all that stuff on our team so that there's no excuse, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think, so now that you you called me out, I'm an I, right?
Yeah.
And I've got a lot of S in me.
Okay.
How are you going to deal with me? So what's important to me? If you're going to communicate with me and you want to meet me where I'm at because you kind of sized me up, then what are you going to be aware of? What are you going to do?
Well, first thing, mirror and matching, I'm going to slow down my pace of talking because I talk very quickly and you have a much more paused cadence, thoughtful. Yeah. So I'm going to slow down how I talk when I talk with you. to start. That's just mirror matching. Now, in terms of communication, I'm going to be a little bit more fluffier too. Again, more smiley faces. It's going to feel really good working with you.
Yeah.
Because I'm an I.S.C as well. Those are actually, the second time I took the test, I had I.S. and C above the 50% quadrant, which is pretty rare, I guess, to have above 50% in 3 quadrants at the same time. Typically, you're in 2 quadrants, 2 dominating quadrants.
Yeah.
But I think that was, and it has your natural style and your adaptive style are the 2 different ways. So your natural style, you're at rest at home, and then your adaptive style is kind of who you turn on for to be at work.
Right. That's where my S comes in.
And that's where my C comes in.
Okay. Oh, very interesting. Because I'm my resting self is high I, and then my second is D. And that does make sense because when I'm in my own element at home and I'm just doing my thing, it's like I just want to get to the, there's no need to revert to those other personality types or let those shine. I'm just like direct, more of a driver at home, just like, so definitely high I, D, but I immediately and very quickly go to more of an S personality.
Well, I know that if I take your call, I'm probably going to be it's not going to be a quick call. It's probably going to be 10 to 15 minutes. We're probably going to talk about, how was your day? What's going on? Okay, what do we need to do in the transaction?
How does that make you feel?
Funny story. A little bit anxious because it's like, oh my gosh, I'm having to have this conversation. And it's like, on one hand, you're in sales, so you're always thinking numbers, time.
Yeah.
This is, but on the other hand, like that's the part that makes you love the people in the transaction. And so that's the part where you get to like pause and be super present and just like have an awesome conversation with somebody because it is so go, go, go. So like getting an I.S.C as a client feels really good to me.
Yeah. Definitely.
I'm going to have those heartfelt conversations, really listen to your needs, and then send you a lot of data on the back end. So after we look at houses, I'm going to send you charts, graphs, data, because that's going to feed the C part of your soul.
Oh, yeah. That's really cool. I love that we're talking about this because I think a lot of agents or anyone that's, even if you're not a real estate agent, you're just a client. Mm-hmm. You're just somebody that's looking for an agent, right? Or you're working with an agent and you're wondering why this communication is just hard, right? So just understanding.
It's relieving because it's like, if I'm just trying to communicate with everyone in my communication style, that's going to cut off a lot of different people and I'm going to feel like I have to be perfect all the time.
Yeah.
Versus if I'm communicating with a D and I know I'm communicating with their style, I just have to get them the information as fast as possible. Yeah. That's all they want. They don't care if it's pretty. They don't care if it's even misspelled, right? They'll figure it out.
Yeah.
Just give them what they need so they can do their next step.
Yeah, good point. I love it. So
a driver won't take no for an answer. If you tell a driver no, they'll go find somebody else.
Yeah.
Right. But an S might be like, oh, okay, well, we'll wait until we're ready.
Who do you think it's easier to work with as a real estate professional?
I mean, okay, so the DISC profile comes from a book called Emotions of Normal People.
Okay. So we're assuming
so anybody who can be normal and have the emotions of a normal person is somebody I would love to work with. Anybody who's irrational and living in the ether world.
We've had those.
Yeah.
Recently you had one.
I've done something I've never done before and I'm still questioning it,
No, you did the right thing. You fired a client.
But I'm still blown away that I did it. Like, I'm
proud of you for doing it.
I'm a little proud of myself as well. Yeah. I don't think I'll ever have to do it again.
No.
I don't think I'll ever do that again. Yeah. Because I genuinely believe that I can help everybody because I am adaptable and I will adapt to personality types and reasonable requests and stuff. But if somebody's just like aggressive and caustic and irrational and unreasonable and, you can try all the different approaches, they might just not have the emotions of a normal person.
That's right. And so you can't really put them in these guidelines.
Yeah, not everyone fits into a DISC profile. Maybe there's like a DISC X. And
they were definitely X.
They were.
Yeah, because I had to go and I had to look at all the communication and really kind of figure out what happened in that situation. And I was just like, I can't believe you lasted as long as you did.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because we had to I wanted to look into it.
Oh.
It's my responsibility.
Yeah.
Team leader, I wanted to see. I wouldn't want that client with any single person on my team because that was, literally, and even Lorianne, she was looking deeply into okay, what are their needs?
I didn't have a lot of notes on them. Did I only have 2 notes?
Yeah, but we we figured it out.
You kind of could discern based on what, like the properties they were looking at. Did you hear the first phone call still?
We did.
Because it was a Zillow lead.
Yeah.
I want to go back and listen to that first
You
phone call.
should. You should actually. You handled it really well.
He was very caustic from the beginning, wasn't
yes.
he?
Yeah. Okay, let's wrap this up with final thoughts.
Thank you.
So now that we understand what the DISC is, we know kind of what it means. We know that we should sort of there's a better way of saying this, but sort of size somebody up real quick, this, at least in this area, so we can kind of figure out the best way to communicate with them. I would like to give one small little tip.
Yeah.
Don't ever talk about this with your clients. Don't ever say to somebody, "Oh, you're a D. I know how to handle you." Or, "Ooh, you're in a," just do it.
So
just
rule number 1, don't talk about rule number 1.
Yeah, exactly.
Rule number 1 of DISC. Rule number 2, don't talk about DISC.
Don't talk about it. Just know it. This is stuff this is stuff you should have in your wheelhouse.
This is a secret weapon.
It's a secret weapon. It's something that you keep backstage. This is for the green room, right? You can chit chat about it with your teammates and things like that. Mm-hmm. But I never would recommend that, you talk to someone on the phone and you're like, "Oh, I'm so sorry. I just figured out you have a D personality and I was coming at you with my eye. So that's wacko. That's wacko. That's psychobabble that nobody needs to hear.
Some woo-woo stuff.
Yeah, just these are real things. They're really good tools. Just take them on, internalize them, and use them to your advantage. And actually, what's cool about it, you're using them to their advantage too.
Absolutely.
Because we're in service. So if I can know what these things are and use these skills, I'm not just using it for my advantage. I'm actually helping. I'm better able to help you because I understand.
Isn't that the whole purpose of a salesperson?
Yeah.
A salesperson, you have an awesome product to bring to the market, and it's your responsibility to convey that awesomeness to the market. Like how many awesome products have been lost because the person is a high C or a high D and they don't have that expressive, stable, mirror and matching type of personality, right? Like look at Steve Jobs. Steve Jobs is a high D, high C. He is not a people-focused person at all. He had a brilliant concept. Nikola Tesla, perhaps, brilliant concept, did not have the personality to bring it to the marketplace.
Right.
So you've got to be able to bridge that gap.
That's right.
And this is the magic sauce. This is the roux that brings it all together.
Yeah.
The gravy.
Love it. Love it. Okay, well, thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking the time to bring this to everyone's attention. But I love the fact that you did research on it.
I am tripping. I am excited.
It's pretty cool.
I am, because I geek out on this stuff. I mean, DISC profiles. I mean, anytime God, the internet is just my drug.
Yeah.
You can just I love a hashtag and a hyperlink, and you just go down the rabbit hole of But how cool to learn about that I've been using this DISC profile for years, and it has a connection with truth. Just finding the truth for people, a lie detector, helping you find out more about yourself.
Yep. So cool. Well, if you guys found any value in this, please give it a thumbs up. We appreciate you being there. If you want to get a hold of Steph Winter for anything and all things real estate especially, link in the description. She's super easy to get a hold of. You can just Google Steph Winter, right? Stephanie Winter.
Yep, even the weirdos are finding me sometimes, so I'm out there.
You're easy to find on social, so... we'll catch you on the next one.
Before you go, would you do us a favor? If you found any value in this content, would you please like and subscribe to it? Maybe even leave a comment. It really helps us out.